Okay, there we go. Good morning, everyone. It's Tuesday. And let me take roll really quick, okay? So, Jasmine, do we have you here? No, she's not coming in. I forgot. There we go. All right. All right. Griselda, here. I'm going to ask you guys to say something, okay? Stephanie is out. Okay, Catalina. Yes.
Good morning.
Okay. Diana. Jennifer. Is she here now? Oh. Okay. Avery. Yep.
I'm here.
Okay,
morning.
good. Danielle's here. Megan? Megan, are you
Hi.
here? Okay.
Yes, hi.
All right. Thanks, hon. All right. And Angela, she's not here or she is here? I don't hear her. Okay. So I'm going to get those in there. I'm going to make another announcement, okay, on your homework and assignments, okay? So you do know that when we're on the Zoom, okay, that basically gets recorded on the lab on Pivot Point, right? And it gets recorded on the cloud so I can see who's here and who's not, okay? So on the Tuesdays and Wednesdays when you're doing your online work, okay, in order for you to get credit for Tuesday and Wednesday after theory, okay, you have to do the work and you have to turn it in on Zip that day. If you don't turn in any work on Zip, you're not going to get credit. Now you can't clock in and do nothing, okay, because a couple of people are clocking in and staying online, but they're not doing any work. It's like they open something or they open this, but they're not doing any work, okay? So the whole point is having some work to back it up. So when you finish the work, then you're supposed to send a picture of that to on the Zip. Does everybody understand that? Okay, because we've been through this before, and I'm going through and trying to do time again, and like a couple of you have like work on Zip and you have nothing on lab, and then you have nothing on lab and you have stuff on Zip. You know, it's like reversing back and forth. So I'm trying to get it straightened out. I'm going to have to go back like 2 weeks now to make sure that everybody gets credit for what they're supposed to do. Okay, because I got something sent in, because when they did the actual printouts, I've got stuff from like a week ago. Okay, so make sure you're doing the work that day when it's assigned on Tuesdays and Wednesdays and turn it in. Otherwise, I can't give you time, because I wrote on the back of the time card, I'm like, there's no work done. You looked at something, you're online looking at something, but if that's what you were looking at, like the Zoom again, I can't give you credit for that if you were already in Zoom. Does that make sense? Do you understand what I'm saying? Because I do give an assignment in the Zoom what you're supposed to do the rest of the day, okay? So if you don't take a picture of it, you're not going to be able to get credit for it. Does everyone understand that though? Yes? Okay.
Miss Jean, does that mean if we weren't clocking in but we were sending you pictures of the homework that we weren't getting credit for the homework?
Well, when you send in the homework, okay, I have a record of it and there's a timestamp on it. Okay. So I can give you time for that. Do you understand what I'm saying? On
Yeah.
the Zip, on the Zip, it actually comes back to me. Let me show you. On a printout, hold on, let me get you a printout. Like, when you do something on Zip, I don't know if you can see this, it actually gives me a printout and a time. You see that? Okay. When you're doing it on the lab, okay, it looks like this. Okay, it comes like this. All right. Now, some of you have been doing the lab, but you're not turning in any work behind it. Okay, it's just showing me that you logged on to something, but you didn't do anything. Does that make sense? So that's why you have to do work with it in order to get credit for those times. Okay, but if you turn in work and take a picture of it, I have to give you credit. It's got a timestamp on it, so I can give you credit for that. Okay, does that make sense? All right, so if you're not clocking in on the Zip, you know, for your 2 hour or 4 hours after Zoom, I won't know except for the timestamp on your homework when you were here.
So Miss Janie, I have a question. My first like 2 weeks, I don't think I was clocking in on Pivot because I would just forget since I was still new. But I actually don't think I ever texted you pictures of the homework, even though I was doing it.
Okay.
What should I do?
You can still send it to me, okay?
Oh, okay.
I will put it back. There's kind of like a little grace period in there because I'm trying to keep up with your work, okay? But if there's a chance that you haven't done your work, you can actually send it like on Thursday or Friday when you come in here, you can give it to me then.
In person, okay.
Yeah, okay?
Okay.
All right.
And I'll just from now on remember to do it fully, right?
Right. It's like,
I was like only half doing it.
Right, because I can't give you credit if I don't have anything to back it up. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it
So
makes sense.
Yeah, and I want to give you guys credit for whatever you're doing. I really do. Okay, it's just hard to go back and then check it. So I go against my attendance sheet for your Zoom, okay, obviously because you're in the class, okay, and then when I assign the work to it, okay, then you can do it. If you are absent, okay, on Tuesday or Wednesday, if you're watching the Zoom, okay, because you weren't in class, you can do that work and make it up that day. However, on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, when you're supposed to be at school, you can't make those days up on the computer because those days are what you're supposed to be in school. So either you're here or you're not, and you take an absent for it. Does that make sense? I'm trying to make sure everybody understands, and I know I covered this a couple of times, but I just want to make sure everybody understands. You can't turn your work from like Tuesday or Wednesday on Thursday and Friday and then use the clock time because you're here at school during the clock time. Do you see what I'm saying? So I'm getting homework from people, sending in on Thursday and Friday during the times that you're in school. I can't give you that credit twice. Does that make sense? Because we do our time cards on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday here in the classroom. I tell you how many hours you get. And if you turn in work on that, I can't give you credit for that work, okay? Because that work was supposed to have been done probably on Tuesday and Wednesday. Does that make sense?
I had a question, Ms. Janie.
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of a part of the homework, but the notes that we do, are we supposed to send in that same day, whatever notes we finish, or until we finish like the whole course of the chapter?
When are you supposed to do that work for the day?
Like, because you told us to send the picture of the smart notes as well. You know,
Right.
my Donovan told me you don't have to send the whole thing, at least the first page, but I'm not sure if we send it the day of that we're doing those notes or until we finish the chapter.
Well, no, we don't usually finish it unless on one day. We usually take a couple of days, and it depends on how much we interact with each other, how long it's going to take to get through it. I mean, I have a general idea of, a chapter might take, 15 hours, okay, is basically what it says or something like that. And so that would be like a week and something because you're only getting 2 hours a day on those Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Do you see what I'm saying? So your work should be done because we went through that information for that, okay? And then I'll give you something else to finish it, whether it be your key terms or if it's going to be the actual lab work that's on there. So let's say if we finished 4.1, okay? That day, then 4.1 should be done on the computer. So you would go to lab, you'd pull up 4.1, and then it will have an assignment, and it'll have a challenge, and it'll have something else, okay, a discussion. So you're supposed to do all of those things, okay? Take a picture of the ones that we can't do. Like your challenge, it already records it for me and gives it to me, okay? But the other stuff that's in there, like if it tells you to do assignment, you do the assignment and take a picture of it, okay? That's your homework for that day. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so does that mean we send in the picture of the notes that we do that day as well?
Yes, because that notes are covering part of it, yeah. Okay, so I want to make sure, because not every day you're going to finish that part of the chapter. It's not like the whole chapter. It might be just part 1, part 2, part 3, okay?
Okay.
And if it isn't, then I'll assign something else for you to do, okay? That's why it's so important. If you miss class on Tuesday or Wednesday, you have to watch the Zoom in order to know what you're supposed to do for that day, because you won't know. And I did that for a reason, so that people would watch the Zoom and get credit for it, not just do the work and then expect to get credit for it. Do you know what I'm saying? Okay. So Tuesdays and Wednesdays are the only days that you can actually make it up, like later on in the afternoon because of the time frame. But Thursday, Friday, and Saturday are done at school. So I should not be getting work from Tuesday or Wednesday on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, because I can't give you credit twice. And I can't give you 6 hours at school and 2 hours at night, because it was supposed to be Tuesdays. I can't do that. So on the days that you're here, you cannot turn in work, okay, and get credit for it, like hours. All right. So everybody understands that part, right? Okay. All right. So we should be on page 94, right, at the beginning. Okay, this is kind of continuation after what we did last week. Remember, because you guys did your little reports and turned it in. Do you see the little disease yellow box that's right there on your page where it says diseases, infection, contagious, right? Okay, that's what we're talking about. So we're going to go to contagious diseases first, all right? All right, contagious diseases, okay, cause infection, but not all infectious diseases are contagious, okay? So I want you to write in there, contagious diseases cause infection, okay, but not all infectious diseases are contagious. Okay, and the reason for that is because not all of them can be spread through casual contact, okay? So you should have contagious diseases cause infection. Not all infectious diseases are contagious, okay? Because they're not all spread by casual contact. So give me an example of casual contact.
Like touching a doorknob.
Yep, or shaking someone's hand, right? Okay, or picking up a cup that, or a glass or something that someone else had, right? These are all casual contacts. All right, so go down to the bottom here where it says disease, infectious, and contagious, and we're just kind of going to go through them. Where it says AIDS is infectious, okay, but it's not on the contagious side. Chickenpox is infectious and contagious. The common cold is infectious and contagious. All right, hepatitis B is only infectious. Herpes, infectious and contagious. The flu, influenza, is infectious and contagious. Legionnaire's disease is only infectious. Lyme's disease is infectious. Measles is infectious and contagious. And TB or tuberculosis is infectious and contagious. Okay, so everybody understands which one, what it means by contagious and infectious, right? Okay. All right, go down to the bottom where it says tuberculosis prevention, and we're going to fill in some of these because we used to think that TB was kind of eradicated, that we didn't have it anymore, and that's not true, okay? Because of a lot of people not wanting to vaccinate, okay, their children, and people coming in from different countries that have not been vaccinated also. So what ends up happening is people can get tuberculosis to the point where they really can't be outside of their home. There are people that have to stay inside of their home. They're not allowed to leave to go to the grocery store, to go to the doctor, any of that stuff. And they will have a social worker that is assigned to them that will actually go out there and do their shopping for them and bring them in because they are so infectious that they should not be out in public. And I didn't really realize that this was actually a true thing, but it is. I ran into a social worker. Okay, and she was explaining to me, she goes, we do have to send out people because we don't want them out there. And now with everyone wearing a mask already anyways, it's kind of scary.
Miss Jeannie,
Mm-hmm.
so if your child like isn't vaccinated and you go like shopping or something and somebody like happened to have tuberculosis and like wasn't like, let's just say they weren't quarantined or something like that, and they were like touching that shopping cart and then like your child was touching the shopping cart, then your child could get tuberculosis.
Okay, well, here's the thing. This is a little, I guess, on the border of both of those, okay? If your immune system is down, you're more susceptible to getting it, okay? Getting that TB, all right? Or any disease, all right? If your immune system is healthy, you usually don't have a problem with it, okay? But then again, it's still sitting on the fence. Does that make sense? Because I see both sides of the fence where people don't want to vaccinate and people that do. So, okay, so say you don't vaccinate someone, okay? Well, if you're not out in public and, you know, exposed to someone else, you probably won't get it, right? Because you're not out in public. But people that are vaccinated shouldn't have to worry about somebody being not vaccinated because they're not going to get it. Does that make sense?
But if you're not vaccinated and like you're taking your child out in public all the time, like they're prone
you
to
could
getting
put them
it.
in danger. Yeah, I couldn't say that they're going to get it for sure, but you're putting it in danger. And it's usually because the immune system is down. That's why you get sick. Okay, it basically, it's a way into the body. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so prevention on this. Tuberculosis is contagious, potentially fatal infections that's caused by airborne bacteria that first affect the lungs, okay? You want to use germicidal disinfectants for equipment and implements as an effective preventive measure in the spread of tuberculosis. I'm just going to call it TB. Infection can also be prevented by good personal hygiene, public awareness, and following all infection control procedures in our skincare centers. So you should have fatal and airborne bacteria, right? Germicidal and spread, and infection, it should be prevented, and infection control in your fillings. Okay. All right, and we should be on page 95, right? Okay. Universal precautions. This word and infection control seem to confuse you when you're on a test. So I want to make sure everybody understands this, okay? Universal precautions basically means using the same infection control procedures for all clients. So basically it has the word infection control in its definition, okay? It means that the lady that's got the Gucci bag, you need to take just as much precautions as somebody that's the bum that probably has a disease, or you think that he has a disease. You can't just be relaxed because you think that person's clean. You don't know what their home's like. They could be really put together well, and then it's nasty at home. You don't know. And that bum could probably be the cleaner than the lady with the Gucci bag. So what we're trying to say is assume that everybody's infectious and you protect yourself, okay? And if you think that way, in those terms, all right, you're always taking those precautions, then you shouldn't have a problem, okay? It's when we get lax and we actually, you know, don't take care of our infection control procedures that we do get sick. All right, there are two basic classifications of an infection, okay? You have a local infection and you have a general infection. And that general basically means systemic because it's going through the blood system. But under local infection, what I want you to write in there in like little brackets, write little infection. They both start with an L. Little is a local infection. Okay, and under general infection, I want you to write a giant infection. So you remember which one's which. General is giant and local is little. Okay, it's a way to remember them. All right, under your local infection, that first block, it's present in a small confined area. Okay. And your second block is going to be, it's often indicated by a pus-filled boil, pimple, or inflammation. So that's how tiny they're talking about, a pimple, inflammation, right? And pus is when the body's way of getting rid of the bacteria, okay? All right, and then the very bottom one, where it says local, you're gonna write little again, okay? Just to remember, local equals little. Okay, here's my new student, hold on. Good morning. Amar, am I pronouncing that right? Did she stay in here? I don't see her yet. Hold on. Yeah, she is. Okay.
Hey.
Hey, can I see your face, honey? I need to see your face.
Okay.
Okay. We're going to welcome you to the class.
Thank you.
All right. Have you downloaded your books?
Sorry?
Have you downloaded your books and your study guide yet?
Yeah.
Okay. So what we're on is chapter 4. In the study guide, we're on page 95.
You know, I'm the first time to do it today. You know that?
Yes, I do know that. That's why I was asking if you had your download yet. It's okay.
Yeah.
All right. Hi. So do you have your study guide and your textbook online? Okay, here's what we're going to do today, okay? I'm just going to ask you to take notes with us, okay?
Okay.
What you can remember from the class, okay? And then after everyone leaves today, I will go through your textbook and your study guide to show you what we're doing, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, no problem. We've all been there. Okay, so we're going to go over to general systemic, right, infection. And the first block there is it occurs when the circulatory system carries the bacteria and toxins to other parts of the body. And the only way it does that is through our blood, okay? So just put in there, when the circulatory system, okay, carries the bacteria and their toxins to other parts of the body. Okay, and then your second block on that, you're going to write general equals giant. Okay, I'm trying to get you to remember LL and GG. Okay.
And excuse me, I have notes. It's my English not excellent.
That's okay.
Please, okay?
I got you. It's okay.
Yeah.
We'll help you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right.
But you know, I'm a makeup artist and back home.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but I need to, you know, like keep going here too, you know?
Right, you have to have a license here.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. The next word on here is defense mechanism. Okay. And inflammation is basically the body's defense mechanism against harmful bacteria. So you will see an inflammation if the body's starting to get an infection.
Mm-hmm.
You girls, you know when you get, your lymph nodes get swollen, that's inflammation, okay? Lets you know that there's something wrong, usually in this area if these lymph nodes are swollen. If it's the lymph nodes underneath your armpits, then it usually means in that general vicinity is where usually the infection is. So it kind of gives the doctor an idea of where your infection is by where your lymph nodes are swollen. So it's basically telling you that there's your defense mechanism. If something's swollen, it causes the inflammation, and you know that there's something wrong. Something's not healthy in that area. Okay, does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
Okay. Now there's other people that are called asymptomatic carriers, okay? And these are people that can carry the disease without producing any symptoms, okay? They can carry the disease of the bacteria or the virus with no recognizable symptoms. So that's why it's so important to keep following universal precautions, okay? If you get to be lax, you think that there's no symptoms and you think you're not going to be exposed to something, but that's not true either. Okay, because there are people that will not show signs of it and actually have the disease, and they can give it to you, trust me. All right, so that's why universal precautions is what we're looking for. You've got to assume everybody's infected so that you protect yourself, okay? All right, then it goes into the body's ability, which is basically immunity, the body's ability to destroy infectious agents that enter it, and our immune system will fight that infection in two ways, okay? So you have natural immunity and you have passive immunity, right? So natural immunity, that first block, it's partially inherited from your parents, and it's basically known as a natural resistance to disease, okay? And you get it from your parents. It's kind of funny that when the mother is still nursing the baby, she doesn't need her baby, you know, those little shots yet for like 6 months, because whatever, you know, I guess, immunity that the mother has, the baby will have as long as he's being breastfed for the first couple of months. That's why they wait for those shots until they're a little older. So this is partially inherited, a natural resistance to the disease or any disease. Okay, the second one is going to be the production of white blood cells. Okay, they make antibodies that will fight disease-causing agents. So you're going to write in there the production of white blood cells and antibodies to fight disease. You know you have red blood cells and white blood cells, right? Always think of the white hats. They're always the one coming to the rescue. They're fighting off that bacteria.
Miss Janie, can you repeat what you put for the immunity block, the first one?
At the very first one, partially inherited. That part?
No, not for natural immunity before that, where it's just
the immunity.
Huh?
Okay, it's the body's ability to destroy infectious agents. Okay, the body's ability to destroy infectious agents that enter it. Okay, so your immune system is like it fights your infections for you. Okay, till the point where it can't fight it any longer, and then you end up with a disease or disorder. Okay, so do you have the first block on the partial under natural immunity? Okay, how about the second one? Yeah, okay. So the third one is going to say the epidermis, which is your outer layer of the skin, right? It protects the body from microbes until it's had a cut, okay? Or a scratch, something that will allow the infection to get in there. Your epidermis is going to be the first line of defense before you will get an infection, let's put it that way. But as soon as you get a cut or scrape, then the infection can get in. I try to explain this to a lot of cosmetologists in this manner. Think about it this way. We sometimes don't put gloves on when we're supposed to, okay? And let's say I was giving a lady a perm and I didn't wear my gloves. Well, I didn't even know I had a paper cut until I ran that solution over my finger, and then I knew it was open. At that point, I would have been able to get an infection had there been something around me, okay? Because that cut was an open wound to the outside elements. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So you can't just assume that you're healthy, because you never know you have a paper cut until you actually like burn it. You apply, it ran into some lemon juice or something else that might irritate it, right? Normally that lemon probably wouldn't bother you, but because there's an open wound, it's burning. Okay, then you know that an infection you can get into your body. All right, and the last one is this: unbroken skin shields the body from disease. Okay, unbroken skin shields the body from disease. I'm going to make one more suggestion on this. That we're actually wearing gloves now for basically anything that we're doing on each other or on the clients. But if your cuticles are cut, that's an open wound. It's not just your skin. If your cuticles are cut, you're opened up to any type of infection if you're around something that's contagious. Okay, so that's why you want to be very, very careful. All right, passive immunity. Okay, that first block, this one's going to occur through a vaccination. Okay, or what they call the injection of antigens. Okay. Normally when you get a vaccine, sometimes they're live vaccines, and those live ones are giving you a little bit of that disease and letting your body build up its own immunity to it, so that the next time it gets exposed to it, it doesn't flare up and give you a full-blown disease. It just goes, I already had that before, I'm not going to react to that. Okay.
It's Janie.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to say one thing. With vaccines, they inject you with just the antibodies, not the pathogens. So it's not actually like the live infection.
Like what's anymore?
Disease.
I'm just kind of concerned about all of these viruses that they're wanting to give you an inoculation, because all of the other things that are inside there that they don't need. There are other things in that. You know what I'm saying? Inside the vaccine.
They use those to keep the antigens together, because they can't just directly inject you with the infection, especially pathogens, because the pathogens are what get you sick.
Yep.
Yeah, and so all that material that they put in the vaccine is to help keep the antibodies alive enough to
preserve
for your body to recognize it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it kind of gets scary because there's some things that really don't need to go in a lot of those. I mean, we've fought against those. That's why people are fighting against the vaccinations, because a lot of that stuff doesn't need to be in there. You know what I mean? But it just depends on the vaccination itself. But I get what you're saying. It needs to preserve whatever's in that vaccine, so that's why it's there. But that's another argument. All right, I'm not going to say that I've never gotten vaccinated, because I have, okay? All right.
What about the people who say getting your child vaccinated makes your child more sick?
I don't know if I would say that that's it. It could. That's what I would say. It could, okay? Because there's been a lot of children getting, what's it called? I'm trying to remember. Isn't the
autism?
Disease, huh?
Autism?
Yes, there you go. I was trying to find the word for it. Have actually got autism because they've had an infection, or they end up even having brain damage afterwards. Okay, I have a friend that lost her child that way. Okay, it was real bad. Okay, now the child is very handicapped. Okay, mentally was perfectly healthy baby until they got the vaccine. So it just depends on the baby's body. You don't know. Okay, but they're trying to prove that on a large scale, it's better to be vaccinated than not be vaccinated. Okay?
Well, because I know a lot of schools, they won't let you put your child in school unless they've had, I don't mean, because I know there's some vaccines, there's things that you can't even get until you're older. And so, I think that not all of them are necessary, but, your basic flu shot and, meningitis and stuff like that, because I was vaccinated when I was little and I still got meningitis. And then when I was 16, I got a tetanus shot and I got a really bad fever and I got super sick from it. But then there's other things that I've been fined for. But I know that schools won't let you put your child in school unless your kid is vaccinated.
Right,
but
and
then
they're not even accepting the religion anymore. Okay.
Yeah, because so then how do you So what about the people who won't get their child vaccinated because they say it'll make their kids sick? Can they just
They
not
have
go
to pay
school?
extra and take it to a private school. Those are the only schools that are allowing anybody who refuses to vaccinate their children.
I
Or
went to
homeschool.
private school and they still made me get the
There's
swine
some of
flu
them.
shot.
There's some of them still out there that are willing to do that.
Or you would be homeschooled.
Yeah, it's
One of
either
the two.
either spend $5K a month or homeschool.
Yeah. But you know what, that homeschooling, you don't have to pay extra to go to those schools, you guys. To send your child to a public or private school, no, there is a way around that the government pays for it because every child's entitled to education. Okay, period.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. You just have to
I
find,
didn't
you have
know
to
that,
fight
but
it.
I-
Yes,
that
you do.
route, I would recommend that route to anybody then,
Yep.
because I just saw my niece and nephew.
They'll tell you that.
10 grand a freaking month just because they want their kids in private school, just so they
Okay, here, let me tell you about, this is another thing with the private schools. The educators that are there, they don't have to be as trained as, I guess, as trained as public school. Public school, you have to have a degree and you have to go into all this stuff. The private schools do not, okay? But the one thing that's good about the private school is that they're smaller classes so they can be individualized for each student, which they cannot do in public school. That's the only difference. Okay, I
went to a private school, and unless you go to a private college afterwards, because they don't require you to take health class and economics and stuff like that. Because I went to a public school my second semester of my junior year, and then I graduated from a public school. But you'll have to take extra classes in college because they don't give you college credits, like prerequisites,
I get that
like
part.
public schools do. So you have to take
So
extra classes.
yeah, there's a little bit that goes both ways, okay? But let me get off this subject because I went crazy on that. I told you I do. All right, so the second one on here is the body's immune response is stimulated by the vaccination, okay? The first one was occurs through vaccination or the injection of the antigens, okay? And the second one is the body's immune response stimulated by the vaccination. Okay. So natural or passive immunity, one of the two. I'm going to close this door real quick.
Yes, good idea.
Okay, there we go. All right, we should be on 96, correct? Page 96 now. All right, and then we're going into what it talks about general practices, okay? Basically, it's infection control, okay? That's what they're talking about. So it's the efforts we use to prevent the spread of disease, okay? The efforts we use to prevent the spread of disease. This is our infection control, okay? Where it says general practices, that's what they're talking about, okay? And basically, the effort we use to prevent the spread of disease, it's going to kill microbes, germs, right? Go ahead, what was that, Griselda? Griselda, did you ask me something, hon?
Me?
I just asked if you could repeat that.
Okay, so it's the efforts we use to prevent the spread of disease.
Can you say again, please?
Okay, the efforts we use to prevent the spread of disease. Okay, and it should be in their textbook. Okay, it'll be under general practices, but what that basically means is infection control. It's the same definition, okay? All right, and basically the way we do that is through the 3 levels of infection control, okay? And this still goes in that same block of information. So we have the first level, which is sanitation. The second level is disinfection. And the third level is sterilization, right? So when we when we talk about general practices, we're talking about washing our hands with soap and water, okay? We're talking about using the hand sanitizer, okay? It's even discussing what they call personal protective equipment, which is basically gloves and safety glasses if you need them, okay? But we need to do proper disinfection to prevent cross-contamination, okay? And that's what has to be put in there also, okay? So general practices include hand washing, hand sanitizers, and using personal protective equipment, which basically means gloves and safety goggles. Okay, and we need to do proper disinfection to prevent cross-contamination. Okay, that means that you're going to disinfect your tweezers. You're not going to use them on the next person until they've been disinfected properly. Okay. All right, the glove regulation. Okay, because of COVID, you're going to see that we need to wear those gloves, but they must be worn for waxing or extraction procedures anyways. Okay, that's whether COVID or no COVID. All right. Because you're going to be, you have the possibility of coming in contact with blood when you're doing extractions, right? Okay, some regions, okay, which means different states by law require the use of gloves during your facial procedures. In California here right now, because of COVID, we are using gloves for facials, okay? We are going to be using gloves for waxing. Doesn't matter what we're doing, anything that we're doing on that face, okay, we are wearing gloves. Until they tell us we do not have to, because it is not a state regulation. It has been because of COVID, but before that, we didn't have to. We wore it for extractions and hair removal in certain areas, but we didn't have to wear them. It wasn't mandatory in California. Now it is because of COVID. So we don't know what's going to happen afterwards, you know, when they finally lift up whatever it is they've got us in here doing, but right now it's mandatory, okay? Now there's two types of gloves. Okay, there's latex gloves. All right, now some of your clients may be allergic to those gloves. They'll always ask when I go to the doctor, are you allergic to it if I use it, or are you allergic to it if you use it? Okay, and there's a difference. So like if I was wearing the gloves, do I break out? Do I have the allergic reaction? Or if somebody's using the gloves on me and giving me an exam, do I break out? Because there's two of them. I don't get upset or don't get a flare-up if they're using the gloves on them to me, but when I put the gloves on me to do a procedure, then I can get an irritation, especially from latex, okay? So the best thing you can do is to get the vinyl gloves because you don't have an irritation with that, okay? Since we have to wear them so much, all right? Some of them are powdered, some of them are not, okay? That'll be up to you too. I can't wear the powder one either because it dries out my skin. So you will find something that you like, okay? Just know that the vinyl gloves are a little bit more expensive, okay, than the latex. So some of the side effects that could happen, right, could be swelling and itching, burning, hives, okay? All of those are like a reaction to latex. But there's like two types of it, okay? Are you allergic because you're wearing the latex, or if somebody's using latex on you to do a procedure? So everyone understand those? Okay. All right, efficacy. I know you guys all want to say it's efficiency. It's not efficiency, it is efficacy. And it basically means the ability to produce results or effectiveness, okay? The ability to produce results or effectiveness. Okay. So, because we're talking about effectiveness, you have to have a required label on all your disinfectants. Okay, and that label is going to tell you what that disinfectant or product is effective against fighting, okay? In other words, this will kill, you know, HIV on surfaces, this will kill, you know, whatever it is. It has to tell you what it's going to kill as far as bacteria, okay? And usually we're looking for, as far as the cosmetology field, because you're under that umbrella, it needs to kill viruses, bacteria, fungus, okay? Bacteria, fungus, germs, there we go. So bacteria, germs, fungus, and virus. All right, it's 4 things, not just 3. Okay, it also must have the manufacturer's directions on the label, okay?
Bacteria, virus, and fungus, and the
bacteria, germs, virus,
germ. Okay,
and yeah, okay. I want to let you know, we talked about us using our kits that we made here for State Board. The only thing that you have to change in that whole thing that we've done so far is their disinfectant bottle. It must have the label, the original label from the manufacturer on there, whether you have to tape it to the bottle or whatever, but it has to have what it will kill, you know, what it's effective against fighting for, okay? And it has to have it's instructions, how to mix it, you know, and how long do you have to leave it on the surface, you know? Is it, you know, immersed, or is it just sprayed on and then wiped off? It has to have its directions on that. You can't print those up, you know, and make one, like type it up yourself. They do not want to see that. They want to see the actual original label. So if you have to call the manufacturer and ask them to send you a label, okay? You have to have the real label to be put on that, on your disinfectant. So know that, because that's a test question, all right? You can't make it. You have to have the original label, all right? So everyone understand that about their infection control and their disinfectants. All right, so go down to your vocab here, okay? And your first word is going to be infection control, right? And infection control means the prevention of the spread of infectious agents, okay? It's the prevention of the spread of infectious agents to you and your clients, okay? We want to protect both of us. So the prevention of the spread of infectious agents to you and your client. And I know you've heard me say this, we have to protect ourselves, right? Protect our clients, but you're protecting yourself first, then your client. Because if you're not protected, you're going to pass whatever you have on to your client. So it doesn't seem to, you've got to make sure you're protecting yourself first. All right, the second one is sanitation, disinfection, and sterilization, okay? These are the 3 levels of infection control, okay? We have a little pyramid, 1, 2, and 3. Sanitation, which is washing your hands, using a hand sanitizer. Disinfection is disinfecting your implements, okay, not on skin. All right, and your sterilization is not required in our field of cosmetology or aesthetics, okay? We're only required to do sanitation and disinfection in our field, okay? Just know that right now, okay? All right, so then your first one, we're going to break it down into sanitation, right? It's the first level or the lowest level of infection control, okay? It's basically just destroying the surface bacteria, okay? So it's the lowest level or the first level of infection control. Okay, and the reason why I'm saying this first level, okay, when we get to disinfection, it's going to be the second level. The reason why, there is a test question that everyone misses, okay, and I'm going to read you the test question. I'm going to give you the answers. See if you can figure out what the answer is. It says, tell me what the first level of infection control is. And these are your options, okay? Sanitation, disinfection, and sterilization. And your last answer is washing your hands, okay? So the question again is, what is the first level of infection control? Anyone want to take a shot?
Washing your hands.
Okay, it's not. Okay,
No?
it is, that's the action of doing it, but they asked you what's the first level, and the first level of is sanitation. That's why I wanted you to understand when I gave you that definition, it's the lowest level or the first level of infection control, because that's the answer to it. Yeah, because the question said, what's the first level? Okay, it didn't ask for the action, like, because that's what it is. When you wash your hands, it's the action. So I want you to be able to read your test questions properly at board and be able to answer them correctly, because you guys always miss the easy ones because you didn't read the question right. You know what I'm saying? So take your time when you're taking tests. All right, disinfection now is going to be your second level of infection control. Okay, it's going to eliminate bacteria and viruses and most organisms on what they call an inanimate or non-porous surface, okay? And that basically means all of your aesthetic equipment, okay? Could be your steamers, we're disinfecting that, okay? Tweezers, okay? All of your equipment you have to disinfect, all right? So disinfection is the second level of infection control. It eliminates bacteria, viruses, and most organisms on inanimate or non-porous surfaces, okay, which means the countertops, right? All right. Make sure everybody's got that down. Okay. Then sterilization. This is the third level of infection control. And this is eliminating all bacteria, good and bad, okay? and is not required in our field. So it's the third level, eliminates all bacteria, good and bad, on non-porous surfaces, okay? Because a porous surface would be like your skin, okay? And we don't ever sterilize our skin. We sanitize our skin, but we don't disinfect it or sterilize our skin, okay? So again, just to recap, first level is sanitation, washing your hands, hand sanitizer, right? Second level is disinfection, okay? And this is eliminating basically bacteria, viruses on non-porous surfaces, okay? Which is your equipment, all right? Sterilization, it's going to eliminate all bacteria, good and bad, okay, on non-porous surfaces. So that would be countertops, okay? Your next word is going to be antiseptics, okay? And antiseptics prevent the growth of bacteria on the skin. When do we use antiseptic? Do you remember? Anyone?
For eyebrows, after eyebrows.
Yep, when we're tweezing or waxing, yes, we are. So it's cleaning the area, right? And it's safe to be used on the skin. You wouldn't be able to use antiseptic on your implements though, because it's not proper disinfection procedures. But antiseptic can be used on the skin safely. Disinfection, or, you know, that can't be used on the skin because that's a chemical you must wear gloves with. All right, so everyone understands what the antiseptic's for, right? It's just to clean the area or prevent the growth of bacteria on the skin. All right, the last one on your vocab here is OSHA's bloodborne pathogen standard, okay? And this should be followed for all tools and equipment that come in contact with blood or bodily fluids, okay? It should be followed for all tools and implements that come in contact with blood or bodily fluids. Okay, what do you think what tool do you think we have that might end up being in that? Bodily fluids or blood? Sometimes tweezers, right? How about extractors? Huh?
Don't we get like an extraction tool?
Yes, an
as well?
extractor. Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. Yep, extractors. All right, so what the bloodborne pathogen requires, okay, is the use of an EPA registered hospital level disinfectant, okay? All right, it requires the use of an EPA, which is the Environmental Protection Agency, okay, registered hospital level disinfectant. Okay. And on that label, it must say that it is effective against HIV-1 and hepatitis B, or TB, which is tuberculosis. So the label, it must be effective against HIV-1, hepatitis B, or tuberculosis, or TB, put it down as. Okay, because remember that label has to say what it's going to be effective against fighting and directions, right? Okay, I'm going to give you your little 10-minute break right now. Okay, so I will see you at 6 after. Okay, 6 after 11. All right, Amar, we're going to take a 10-minute break. I don't want you to log off. Just keep your camera going. You can go take a break and come back in 10 minutes. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
I'll see you guys in 10.
Hi, Ali. I was wanting to
Diana, I mean, Angela. Are we all back? Hello, ladies. Is everybody back? Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip the screen for a minute so that I can make sure I give you the assignments. Okay, so just stay on here. I'm going to switch screens and open up my other. Okay, I'll be right back. No, I can't do that. Okay. All right. Can't do that. Okay. Last week when you were doing work, okay, on last Wednesday, did you complete microbiology, which was 4.1? Okay. If you did not, that's your homework today. You're going to do 4.1, and you can start on infection control, which is 4.2. That means going on to the lab, okay, clocking your time, don't forget that part, clocking your time, and then you're going to open up, go below the slides on 4.1, right, where it gives you the assignment. It says discussion, and then it has an assignment, and then it has the challenge, correct? Okay, that will give you the work that you need to do for today, okay? So 4.1 and 4.2 should be completed.
Ms. Janie?
Mm-hmm.
Since I already have like all of them done, do I just, what do you want me to do?
I know you have. I'm like, but did you do all the assignments? Did you do all the assignments though? I think you did the challenge, but I don't remember giving guys the assignments.
Yeah, everything on there is done. On the,
Okay.
it says complete for everything.
Okay. Because I can't pull up my screen right now, and I'm like, oh, okay. So that's what I was going to have you do. I will come up with something for you, Danielle.
Okay, so
all right.
like everything.
Okay. You know what? You can go on to the Board of Barbering and Cosmetology, the website, and write out, okay, the sanitation and disinfection rules under the rules and regs, okay, on the board's website. So you're gonna have to look up sanitation and disinfection procedures, and you're gonna write those out, okay? Basically the things that we could be cited for. Okay, remember we had talked about that? Don't forget drains, you know, that have hair in them and stuff like that. You're gonna write that out. So if you have completed 4.1 and 4.2, then you're going to go onto the board's website, okay? Has everyone done, let me see, also, because some of you haven't done this, okay? Some of my newer ones. You haven't done the barbicide certificate. Okay, I'm trying to write the spelling down here. Barbicide, leukocyte. Okay, they're actually certificates for disinfection and sanitation. Okay, so you will go to their site. This could be for you too, Amar. Okay, you're going to go to the Barbicide's websites, www.barbacide. Okay, they will have 2 of them. Okay, there's certificates that you can do, and you will watch like a little video, or you'll read something on there, and then you will take like a little quiz, and it will actually give you a certificate once you've completed it and passed the little test that they have. There's 2. It's one for regular infection control, and the other one is for COVID. Okay. So on Barbicide, you will have 2 certificates. Once you've completed this certificate, take a picture of the certificate and send it to me through the text message, which is our telephone number. You're going to use that as a text message.
Okay, so, excuse me. www.barbicide.
Excuse me?
Barbicide,
yes.
Okay.
Okay. And the other one is www.leukocyte, and that's LUCASCIDE.
LUC.
Okay, LUCASCIDE. IDE.
Okay.
Okay, those are both disinfectants that we use. Okay, so that's why
Okay.
we're letting you know. So you'll have 2 of them on that also. You'll have 2 little tests you'll have to take, one for COVID and one for regular disinfection and sanitation.
Okay.
Okay, and one more. All right, the next one is going to be at Dermalogica. Okay, so it's www.dermalogica.com, and it's DERMALOGICA. Okay, that's the website. All right, and they have.
Can you say again, please?
Huh?
Can you say again, please?
Okay.
The last one.
D as in David.
Mm-hmm.
ERMALOGICA. Dermalogica.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay.
And theirs is a hand, it says hand something, but it's sanitation. Okay, they have one on your site. Now, what you're going to have to do on the Dermalogica, for those of you that have not done this yet, you'll have to go on to Dermalogica and make an account as a student. So you have to make your login account, okay?
Okay.
Because that's going to be the product that we're going to be using anyways, and you're going to have to get online to do some of the ops on there, okay? Once you make an account, you're going to call them at their 1-800 phone number, okay? And you're going to tell them you need to get online and do the DNA, okay? D as in David, N as in Nancy, DNA retail and professional product, okay? It's an online quiz. Okay, this is for you too, Avery. Are you taking notes? Is she even on here still, Avery?
Yeah, I'm taking notes. Sorry,
Okay.
I just didn't want to unmute it.
Yeah, there's a couple of them you haven't been able to do this. Okay, so once you go onto get onto the DNA, what you're going to do when you don't have anything to do and you need to do time for, class time, like on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, you can go onto this site and it will have 27, I think it is, 27 different categories, all right? You'll start from number 1. It might have like 6 or 8 little questions in that particular bracket, but it could take you a couple of days to do it if you just ran right through it, start to finish. But what they do on this, you have to answer a question. If you don't answer the question, it won't let you go to number 2. Okay, if you don't answer number 2, then it won't let you go to number 3. And if you're worried about what you should put in there, look at some of the other answers that other people put in there. Okay, and it gives you an idea. So you're going to watch a video, or you can read. If you scroll down on the page, it will read to you basically what the whole video is about. Okay, and then it asks you a question on that like 30-second video. All right, this is the product and how would you use it basically. Okay, so that's what you're going to be doing to finish that.
One question. You said when we call the number, we ask for DNA, retail, and professional product?
Right, because what you're going to ask there is you need to get online to the DNA, and you're a student at Adrian's Beauty College, okay? And she's going to help you log on to that, okay? But you have to do your account first. You have to make an account first. Then you can call them, okay? And she'll walk you through the steps so you'll be able to put that on your phone and go back to it when you're not busy. Does that make sense? Okay, so those are the 3 things that you'll be doing today, okay? Same with them are. All right, so does everyone understand that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now if you've done that and you've done your microbiology 4.1 and 4.2, then you get to do the board barbering cosmetology and go on and find the disinfection and sanitation procedures for the board. Okay, but you won't have to worry about that for a while. Danielle will. Okay, and maybe Stephanie if she's finished. Huh?
So I just realized I finished my dermatology. I have a couple of them left. Do you want me to do that instead of the board or barbering cosmetologist?
Yeah, but
and just
finish your DNA first. Yeah. Okay.
Because I just went on and I'm like, oh, I totally forgot about that. Oh God.
Yeah, because remember, if we can get everybody finished, right? If everybody finishes,
Right.
we can get this class done to us free. We don't have to pay for it. All right.
Right.
We can move forward. But if we don't all finish it, we won't be able to take the class. The whole class has to be finished. And Amara, you're the last one that came into the class. So we've got to make sure you're finished with these also. And I'll talk to you after class. Okay. Okay. All right. So everyone knows what their homework is. Megan, have you done all of this stuff that I've been talking about right now?
I did them all, but it told me that one of the certificates was going to be mailed to my house and I haven't gotten it yet.
Okay, which one was that?
Not the B one, the other one that
The
we had.
leukocyte?
Yeah, I think
Okay,
so.
when you finish taking the test though, you can take a picture of it. I don't need to have.
Yeah, I
make it.
sent you the pictures
Okay.
of the emails that
Yeah,
said they
that's
were
all I
completed.
needed was the picture of it. So you did
Okay.
the one for normal infection control and the COVID, right?
Yeah, I did the two that were on that one, and then the leukocyte. I think there was only.
There's two on that one
Yeah.
also.
I sent you I just sent
Okay.
you the confirmation emails because only the first one had actual pictures of the certificate.
Okay.
But I sent you pictures of all of them.
All right. Then I'll just have to go
Wait, let
back
me
to them
look.
to make sure that they're done. I just want to make sure that everyone they're up on their disinfection and sanitation. And since that's the chapter we're on right now, we may as well make sure they're all finished. Okay.
Right. Is there a way if you can check to see if I finished mine? Because I
Yes.
don't remember if I finished it.
Okay, so what I'm, excuse me, what I'm going to do is go back to the files, okay, after class here, okay, and I will check to make sure who's completed the barbicide and the leukocyte, okay?
Okay.
I just have to go back to your files.
I can't remember if I finished it or not. Like, did
Let me
everything.
see, I could just look at yours really quick. It was right here, okay?
Okay.
Danielle, and I'm gonna. Okay. This should be hers, okay. Should be back at the beginning, I think, when you were first here.
Yeah, like the very, very beginning.
Okay.
Because I have my clean touch certificate. I like have it hanging up on my wall, but that's the only thing that I have, which I think that was really weird. So I remember doing other certificates.
And when you're finished with the Dermalogica, they actually give you a certificate.
Right.
But they have to mail it to you, and they'll give you a pen, you know, that you can wear.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I'm going through it here. I might have to go all the way back to yours, Danielle.
Okay, yeah, just go ahead and I'll text you, remind you,
Yeah,
and then
do that to me, okay? Because I've got your file right here, and I'll go back to it.
Okay.
Usually we have it done at the beginning, like you said, and you were here, you've done so many hours here, that's why I said I could pull yours up, but I have to go through all of them. But I will find out who's completed and who hasn't, okay? So it's barbicide and leukocyte and Dermalogica. And Dermalogica was helping hands or something. Can you pull up Dermalogica off your screen? I can't right now on mine. Can you pull it up and check out and see what that disinfection is on their website? You know which one I'm talking about, right? It's like helping hands or something like that. Like protection from COVID and. Okay. I know, I can see you looking. And Dermalogica, okay. Correct? No? I know, huh? Just a pain.
Is it called Dermalogica's Guiding Principles for Enhanced Service Safety?
Is that it?
Is that what it's called?
I'm trying to figure out, what does it say again?
It's a clean touch certificate, right?
Yeah, it's a test.
Yeah, so what you do is when you log in, you just go to Back in Touch, and then it'll say Clean Touch Certified
That's it.
New.
It's Clean Touch,
And then
that's
you'll
what
hit
it's called.
Start Online Course Now. Yeah, I think I did it, but I mean, if I can redo it, I'll redo it
Yeah.
just in case.
Okay, it's called Clean Touch, that's what it's called, sorry. I knew it was something like that.
So when you log in, it'll have like those things in the bottom, and it'll say resources, Back in Touch, newest innovations, become an expert, de-streaming and DNA online. Just hit Back in Touch, and then it'll pop up with this thing with someone washing their hands saying Clean Touch Certified.
Okay, did you get that, Griselda?
No.
Yeah, I got it.
So
You
I
found
can't
it? You're so funny.
because I'm reading.
Okay, so the Dermalogica is going to be the clean touch, okay? And that's the, so once you finish the questions and it tells you, congratulations, you know, this is your certificate, take a picture of it and then send that to me at the zip whip, which is our telephone number, okay? You just send a text or send the picture to the text message and then I can put it in your file, okay? All right, you did find it though, Griselda, right?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, good. All right.
And then it was the one that you wanted us to do for makeup artists, right? Because I'm like, that's the one I have hanging on my wall.
Which one? The
Is it
makeup
the one
one?
for makeup artists?
For makeup?
Yeah, there's two different ones.
Yeah, there's two different ones. I thought you said the first one was for makeup artists. That's what you wanted us to do for the first one. Because mine that I have hanging up on my wall is for makeup artists.
Oh, is there another one for estheticians?
It's enhanced service safety.
Okay, there's two now, huh?
Yeah.
Then you may as well take the second one also, okay?
Okay.
So take both. Because I know that this whole Dermalogica is esthetician, so, you know, because you do makeup, you have to do both of them. Okay? So if you only did one on Dermalogica, you go back and do the second one, okay? Is that one called something else? Clean touch same? Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's the same one. It just says new, so I'm guessing they added a second one on it because it says new on it. So I'm
all right.
It's the second one.
Thank you. All right, so everybody understands what their assignment is, right, today? Diana, you got it? How about you, Catalina? Is she still here? Catalina?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, so you know what your homework is supposed to be today, right? Okay, and remember you've got to at least send the time that you're starting this thing, okay? Otherwise you're not going to get credit. You got to turn it in today, okay? Otherwise you'll just get 2 hours theory today. All right. So let's
Miss
go back to
Janie,
our
what if we already have all the certificates? Then what are we supposed to do?
Okay, and you've done microbiology,
Besides the lesson stuff online. That's
Okay.
it? Just the lesson stuff?
Just that, okay, and you've done all the other stuff on there, right? The Dermalogica, have you finished it?
I just haven't
The
called.
DNA.
That's the only thing I haven't done.
The DNA.
The test?
No, not the test that's basically on there. There's a DNA that you're supposed to do. It's about product knowledge, okay? Once you made the account with Dermalogica, right, on their website, okay, you're supposed to call them at their 1-800 number.
Oh yeah, that's the only thing I haven't done. I haven't done the
Okay, so
calling
it's
thing.
going to take you a while to do that, though, to go through
Okay.
all of those, okay? You just want to get those done as quickly as possible, okay?
Okay.
But you have to answer each question, otherwise it won't let you go to the next question, okay? And when you call it Dermalogica, just tell her, I need to go online and do the DNA, retail and professional. My teacher is actually having us do that, and so she'll help you log on to that site, okay? She kind of like enters you in there. I don't know what she does, but she'll help you through it, okay? All right. So are we ready on page 97 now, right? Okay. So it starts off with the 3 levels of infection control: sanitation, disinfection, and sterilization. Okay, and basically, this is where we determine the appropriate level of decontamination or infection control. Okay, it just depends on what we're doing. Okay, what tool we're using, or if we're just cleaning a countertop. So under the 3 levels, you're just going to put in there sanitation, disinfection, and sterilization. Can you, each one of you, give me a definition of those 3? I mean, if you don't know what they are, then you need to put that in there with next to it, like a definition. So your sanitation obviously is washing your hands or hand sanitizer, right? Disinfection, which is that 2nd level, okay? This is going to be disinfecting your implements, your tools, your work area, right? Okay, it goes on to non-porous surfaces. And then the third one is sterilization, which means you're disinfecting, you're sterilizing everything. So this is basically what's done in a hospital. That's why we're not required to do it. Okay. So go down to important procedures and precautions, right? And you should have 4 blocks in that yellow block, right? So it's breaking down what I've just said. So the first one is infection control procedures, okay, include hand washing, using protective equipment, and properly disinfecting your implements. Okay, so hand washing, using protective equipment, like your goggles and your gloves, okay? Disinfecting all of your implements. And you're doing this to prevent cross-contamination. That's what should be in that first block. So it tells what it is, what we do, and why we do it. It's kind of like the who, what, where, when, and how. Okay? All right. Your second block is going to be universal precautions. And basically, it's a set of guidelines that are set by the CDC, which is the Centers for Disease Control. Okay? So universal precautions are a set of guidelines established by the CDC. Okay? Which means using the same infection control procedures on everyone. Okay, so universal precautions is a set of guidelines established by the CDC, which basically means, okay, using the same infection control procedures on everyone. Don't get laxed. All right, your third block there, it's talking about the exposure to blood and bodily fluids. Okay, obviously that's going to present a risk for us, right? So exposure can occur, all right, during extractions or waxing or even a facial. So it's the exposure to blood and bodily fluids presents a risk for us, right? Okay, exposure can occur during extraction, waxing, or facials. So we want to protect ourselves. I know I've kind of made this kind of crazy thing, like we wear our gloves to do our extractions, right? We use our mag light, but your mag light's like another blockage between the client's skin and your face, okay? So if you're wearing your shield and your goggles, right, you're pretty much protected in that. That light actually helps if, say, you were doing an extraction and it kind of squirts, okay? It's protecting you, all right? So you want to make sure, I know it's a bad thing to say, but it happens, okay? It does happen. All right, and then the fourth one is hand washing removes microorganisms by lifting them off the surface of our skin, okay? Hand washing removes microorganisms by lifting them off the surface of our skin. And when should we do hand washing?
First.
Before and after doing a client, right? Whenever it's necessary, you throw something in the trash. We've gone through all of those little rules, right? You throw something in the trash, you touch your body, okay, in between, like your nose or something like that. You touch hair, you have to sanitize, okay? So anytime you throw something away, okay, anytime you touch another body part of yourself, okay, outside of the client, all right? If you touch hair, okay, because hair is dirty, I don't care if it's just washed, it's dirty. Okay, so basically you just want to make sure that you're doing the proper sanitation throughout the service, okay? So you're going to follow all guidelines. So basically that was it, okay? Starts off with hand washing procedures, right, and infection control, then it goes through the universal precautions, then it goes through blood and bodily fluids, and then it just tells you what hand washing does. Okay, it's only going to lift that stuff off of your hands, so that's why we wash our hands like twice. I tell girls, you know, wash between your fingers, okay? And wash the top of your hands, okay? And always rinse your hands down like this. You're gonna wash like this, down in the sink, okay? Use a paper towel to turn the water on and another paper towel to shut the water off, okay? All right, so now it's gonna break down sanitation one more time. They're gonna really get into the nitty gritty of it, all right? So again, that first block, you're going to write, it's the lowest level of infection control. Okay, that's the first one. Let's see, there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7 sanitation ones, okay? Okay, this second block, it serves as your foundation for infection control. Okay, it serves as your foundation for infection control. All right. The third block, it's the physical removal of debris, okay? Physical removal of debris. Basically going to reduce the number of microbes present, right?
Miss Janie, can you repeat the first block again?
The lowest level of infection control. Okay, so number 4, it removes organic matter, which is skin, particles, blood. Removes organic matter, skin particles, and blood. Okay, what's that? The roll sheet? I don't have the roll sheet. Okay, sorry, I'll need one. Okay, all right. The 5th one is infection control rules are developed by the regulating agency to protect the consumer. Okay, infection control rules are developed by the regulating agency to protect the consumer. Now, who is your regulating agency? Anybody want to take a guess? Okay, our regulating agency is the Board of Barbering and Cosmetology. That's who we answer to, okay? That's who gives us our license, the whole shebang. So infection control rules are developed by the regulating agencies to protect the consumer. So yeah, protect yourself first. All right, the next one is begins the process of protecting you and clients from the transmission of disease. So it begins the process of protecting you and your clients from the transmission of disease. Okay, and the last one, it's performed on non-critical objects. Okay, performed on non-critical objects that come in contact with your skin. So let's just say I'm in the treatment room and I'm doing a treatment, and we all know that our steamer must be applied, you know, like pushed away from the client when it first starts, right? So your steamer is going to be pushed to the side, and then we're going to wait until that steamer has a full jet of steam before we move it to the client, right? But we could have already started our facial, right? And so now we need to move that steamer over. How are we supposed to do that? Grab a tissue, bring the steamer over to wherever you need to. That way you're not touching anything outside of the client's skin. Okay, and when you're finished, you can throw that in the trash and sanitize. So if you have to move the steamer, grab a tissue and move it, okay? Anytime you have to move that equipment over, you're going to use a tissue to do it. Now, you can use your bare hands, but then you're going to have to sanitize, okay? Okay, that's basically what they're talking about, all right? Mag light, same thing, if you have to bring that over, okay? Because it's not at your fingertips right there. All right, you're going to go to the next page, which is 98. Okay, and these are fill in the blanks. These are our guidelines for sanitation. Okay, so the first one says to wash your hands with liquid antibacterial soap before and after each service, correct? Okay, number 2 starts with your fill-ins, okay? Sanitize all surfaces before and after each service. So the words that go in there are before and after. Amar, if you just write the words that I'm giving you, you could fill this in afterwards, okay?
Yeah.
All right. Number 3, it says provide hot and cold running water at all times. Hot and cold are the words you're looking for. Okay. Number 4 doesn't have any. Provide clean restrooms with well-stocked liquid soap, toilet tissue, and paper towels. Number 5 has a fill-in. Provide disposable drinking cups. Disposable is the word. Okay. 6 does not have one. It's clean sinks and water fountains regularly. 7, keep the skincare center free from insects and rodents. So it's insects and rodents are your words.
What number 6, please?
6,
Yeah.
insects like bugs and
Oh.
rodents.
Miss Janie, that's number 7.
Yes. Oh, she said number 6. There isn't one for number 6.
No, 6.
This doesn't have one.
Yeah, it doesn't have one. Okay, number 8 doesn't have one either. And it reads, empty the waste receptacles daily. Okay. 9, it doesn't have one. It's wear clean, freshly laundered clothing. And 10 doesn't have one either. It's provide freshly laundered towels for each client. Number 11 does have one, okay? Use fresh, clean sheets to cover the table, facial bed, or chair before each service. The words before. Okay. 12 and 13 do not have them. So 12 and 13 are launder all towels and linens on a regular basis and store the soiled towels in a covered receptacle until laundered. 14 also doesn't have one. Avoid touching your face, mouth, and eyes during the service, because if you do, you have to sanitize. All right, 15 does have one, okay? It's wear protective gloves if performing a service that has an exposure to blood or bodily fluids. The word is protective and exposure. 16, never allow pets or animals in service areas except service animals. So it's going to be service is the word you're looking for on that one. 17, provide a new loofah or sponge for each client during a body treatment for showering. Body treatment is the word. 18, dispense all semi-fluids and powders with a shaker dispenser pump. And the word is shaker. Or spray type containers, spatula, or disposable applica, but the word is just shaker. Okay. 19, label all chemicals and keep them covered when not in use. The word is chemicals. 20, use a fresh spatula or applicator stick for every client and every dip in for more product. Okay, no double dipping basically. The word on that one is spatula. All right, 21, mix skincare formulations in a flexible mixing bowl manufactured with FDA approved material. And it's FDA approved is the word. Number 22 has 2 of them, okay, 2 words. It's dispose of sharp objects in sealable rigid containers strong enough to protect from puncture. The word is sharp objects and puncture. 23, discard disposable items, porous implements, and sponges after each use. The word is disposable. And 24 does not have one. It is maintain a file of the material safety data sheet for all products used in the skincare center. Okay, do you remember what that sheet is used for? Okay. All right, the material safety data sheet is also known as the safety data sheet, okay? And what it lists on it is the ingredients of that product, how to dispose of it, in case it's, you know, it has to be disposed of differently. And also, It's like cancer-causing agents, how much your exposure time can be to it, its boiling point. It even tells you how to clean up the mess. So like if you spill it on the floor, how do you clean it up? It will actually tell you all of that stuff on that sheet. And that sheet has to be in your salon for every chemical that's in there. So this sounds really crazy because I'm gonna give the example of nail polish. You know, it may be the same company, all right, OPI, let's say, but it's got 20 different, you know, colors. So you have to have one for each color because there's a different chemical in each one of those, okay? So know that if there's different ones, you'll have to put one for each one of those chemicals, all right? You have to have it available to an examiner if they come in from the front door and they say, hey, I want to see your material safety data sheet, where is it? You have to present it to them, okay? So you have to have one for every chemical that's in there. All right. Then you're going to go down to the bottom where it says proper hand washing procedures. Okay, this is rather filling in and time consuming, but we have to do it. Okay, so number one, it's basically telling you the same thing I've been telling you on how to wash, all right? It says to use a paper towel or tissue to turn the water on, okay? If you have a paper towel or tissue dispenser, okay? If you don't, you're going to dispense an additional 10 to 12 inches on that dispenser and leave it hanging in place from the dispenser for later use. So what you're going to do is you're going to pull it down, the paper from there, turn the water on, okay? And then you can pull down a little bit longer so that you can use that after you dry, you know, wash your hands. You want to be able to not touch anything and just pull the paper towel off. So use the paper towel to turn on the water, okay? The second one is you're going to wash your hands with warm water. Okay, the third one is you're going to apply soap and clean your hands, nails, and between your fingers. Okay, and wash every part of that hand. And your hands should be pointed down towards the drain, okay? The fourth one is you're going to lather and scrub for 15 seconds. Let me tell you, sing happy birthday twice. That's 15 seconds. Okay. All right, the fifth one, you're going to rinse your hands and then tear off that piece of paper towel that you left hanging, okay, to dry your hands. All right, and the last one, number 6, you're going to turn off the water with a paper towel or tissue, not with your clean hands. If you need more paper, just dispense that little bit more paper for shutting it off. So you've got to use paper towels to turn the water on, paper towels to shut it off. Okay. You know, wash your hands between your fingernails. It's like, think of like the little doctor in there, and they're walking in like this. Because if you think about it, you know, before we were using bare hands to do most of our facials because that's, the client is missing that touch part of it, okay? Now we have to wear gloves, but before that, you wouldn't want somebody that had dirty fingernails working on your face, come on, all right? So you wanna make sure you're properly clean before you go to work on the client. And you should have them clean even though you're wearing gloves, okay? I don't wanna see your little Cheetos fingers, okay, inside those gloves. Clean them up. Okay, everybody got that? All right. I'm going to go over to the next page and I'm just going to give you ventilation before I stop for today, okay? All right, so on page 99, we're just going to go through ventilation up here, okay? And it's needed to prevent stale, musty odors, okay? Or the smell of certain chemicals that actually smell. You've walked in here before, and some of you have walked in and you can smell the perm solutions from people getting perms and colors, okay? All right, so you need to have ventilation, proper ventilation so that people can breathe. Also, the average room temperature should be around 70 degrees or 70 degrees Fahrenheit or 21 degrees Celsius, okay? Now at that temperature, remember we were talking about how certain chemicals will work on the client, like especially waxing, okay? That client's body temperature is cold to touch, okay? You're gonna have to put a blanket on them to warm them up for a minute because that will change the temperature within a couple of minutes, all right? So if it's too cold, too hot, your products aren't gonna work as well as you think they are, okay? You might be having problems with them. So always think of those things before you think that the wax may not be any good or the chemical might not be any good. It's just because of that, all right? Ventilation, I just can't discuss this more. You know, there's people that work in these high-rise buildings, whether it's downtown LA or in the Bay Area, okay? And they're in buildings that they sometimes call sick buildings because there's no ventilation going through it. It's just like the same air going through, you know what I mean? And it goes from floor to floor, and people were getting sick and constantly getting sick over and over again. And they realized the building was actually sick. So they had to send in a company to literally clean all of those floors, like all the air vents and everything out, so that people wouldn't get sick repeatedly again. And it basically was just like viruses and stuff coming through them. So you do need to have some type of fresh air coming in at some point. Luckily, we have our little door right there. It has fresh air coming through there in the mornings between the two glass doors. All right. Any questions, comments, or concerns for today's lecture? It was like, no, I'm tired of writing. No, go ahead, Diana. What we're going to say.
Nothing. I was just going to ask you to clarify the homework real quick one more time to make sure.
Okay. So 4.1 and 4.2 can be done on the computer. So you would go to where your study guide is, right? You know where you pull it up to watch your videos? Okay, below that it will have like a discussion, and it might have an assignment. Okay, and then it's going to have a challenge, all right? So the discussion, I think it goes into the computer, you're fine with it, okay? The assignment you might have to do, and then take a picture of the assignment and send it to me. The challenge now will be basically answering those questions, and that gives me a score. Okay, so you don't have to worry about that coming to me. So discussion and challenge comes to me automatically. The assignment you will have to do, okay? And then you'll have to go out of 4.1 and then go into 4.2 and do the same thing. Okay, now if you have finished that, okay, you still have the DNA from the Dermalogica, right? And you also have your barbicide. 2 of those certificates should be done and taken a picture of. Leukocyte, 2 of them, and now Dermalogica's 2 of them. So they're all your disinfection and sanitation certificates. Okay, should be done. So basically you're gonna watch the little video that they have on each one of these, right? And then it gives you a little quiz afterwards. And once you finish the quiz, it gives a score and it gives you a certificate. You need to send me that certificate, a picture of it, okay? That should keep you pretty busy because we need to get that DNA finished. There's quite a bit on that, okay? Just remember that the DNA cannot go forward unless you answer a question, okay? It won't go to number 2 or number 3 unless you put something in there. They want you to be part of their tribe, which means we're all connected together and help each other, okay? So do you understand that now? Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, no problem. Okay, ladies, I will see you tomorrow. Amir, you just stay on while everyone else leaves, okay? All right.
Okay.
Bye, bye you guys.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna shut off the video. Hold on, Amir.
Excuse me. Can